Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Thursday stream. I hope everyone's having an awesome Thursday morning. Howdy, howdy. Hey, Decapolion, it's a brisk 36 degrees Fahrenheit in central Illinois. Sorry about that. Oof. Happy Thanksgiving. London is 6 degrees Celsius and sunny today. Well, that's a change of pace. Hey, Pat Rat, how's it going? Turkey Day. I just think it's a day off for me. It's a long weekend. It is a long weekend, so I welcome the reprieve. It is a long weekend, so I welcome the reprieve. It is a... well, let's see actually. Huh. Windows 11 doesn't... Windows 10 used to display like the actual weather and stuff that's going on right here, but it doesn't do that anymore. It is a brisk 75 degrees Celsius here, which is more than I can expect. Which is more than I can expect somewhere here in, where we are. Apparently it could get, to the 60 degrees-ish. Mid-60s, high, low to mid-60s on the lower end. On the higher end, it looks like mid-70s, high 70s. Yeah, so it's not gonna be hot today. That's a nice reprieve. 11 moved it into the widgets. Gotcha. Gotcha. I kind of like having the little, how should I say, weather display. Seems like good weather. Yeah, it's not hot, so that's good. It's not hot, so I'll take it. I'll take it. It is not hot, so I'll take it. Today I think we can coast, right? Today I think we can coast. We've got plenty of time to go through all the information that we need to go through and just have a good chill time. Linus Tech Tips did a video on the biggest downsides to 11, and he agreed with you moving the weather was a bad move. True. True. So, I think that if I can be within the same agreement with Linus Tech Tips, does that qualify me for only being like semi-boomer? Not complete boomer, but like semi-boomer. Hey Eric, how's it going? True. Oh yeah, no, we're having none of that here. I'm not even gonna speak it into existence. No. We're just chilling here. We're just chilling. It's my day off today. It's my day off tomorrow. Let's just have a good time. Let's just have a good time, you know? Yeah, semi-boomer. Yeah. I'll take it. I know how things work, kind of. Sometimes. I'm tired of hearing it. True, and I know that sounds terrible. I don't do real life drama, and sure hell do. Yeah. Yep. I get you. I get you, Dacapolion. I get you. It's just, it just gets to the point where it is such toxic behavior, that it starts to spill out into the real world, and I'm not here for it. I have never entertained the idea of, like, farming, what could be, you know, considered, what could be somebody's, like, legitimate, I'm gonna be very careful with my words. Somebody's, you know, situation, stressful situation, and farming that, and then continuing to push it, right? I don't know. It's just something that feels weird. But drama is so juicy, true. True. Does get you the clicks, but unfortunately, it's not. It's not what it's not what I'm aiming for. Yeah, exactly, Eric. Exactly. Because, like, then it starts to get into real toxic territory, and sometimes, well, quite often, has IRL consequences, and it's like, I'm not here for it. I'm not here for it. I'm not here for it. If I want to know about what X, Y, and Z, if I want to know about X, Y, and Z, I'll just hang in it. I'll just lurk and kind of get my opinions and just kind of like lurk and see what's going on. But I'm not gonna be like out here trying to farm clout, whatever. Yeah, exactly. Hey, Darknet. It's just like, I don't know. But it all started to make sense. You know what I'm talking about. It all started to make sense. It's just like unbelievable to me. And out of all people, like, what did I do? what did I have to do with any of this? I specifically stay out of it. Like, I specifically stay out of it. Anyways, TLDR, very toxic. It can spill over into very, very toxic lines, and I'm not here for it. I'm just here to chill, you know? I'm just here to chill. Politics is just a different form of drama. No, politics is like a legitimate thing. So just to be clear, like, I think that we've gotten ourselves, especially with like social media and like the streaming or YouTube sphere, content creating sphere, I think we've kind of lost the plot with the whole thing. Like, politics is very, I don't want to say it's like very serious, but it is serious. You know what I mean? So, like, sometimes I kind of think to myself, like, you know, the topics being discussed in X, Y, and Z are very real topics, and there are people who are feeling it, very real people who are feeling it, and here we are, what? Playing games with it? I don't know. Sounds kind of weird. Sounds kind of weird to me. Sounds kind of weird to me. It's all about who you're friends with. True, that's also true. YouTube destroyed politics online because you had to do at least one video a day about it, and it's hard to do if you don't drift into drama and personal stuff. Yeah. I mean, to a degree, that's true because, like, at the end of the day, it's content, baby. Whatever gets you the clicks, and unfortunately, it kind of encourages, you to be outrageous and, you know, push the edge and push the edge and push, right? Because that's what gets you the views, which gets you the clicks, which gets you the bucks. And sometimes that's what you depend on, so of course it's going to encourage you to be that way, right? Whether deep down you want to be, or whether deep down you're that person, whether you want to be or whether deep down you are, it encourages that behavior. That's basically why I really don't like making it seem like it's a game, right? Like I don't want to say commercializing it, but making it seem as if like some of these issues like are just like, oh, let me sit here and talk about X, Y, and Z because that's what's on the like that's what brings in the bucks or something. You know what I mean? It's just like so weird to me. Politics is often a huge social identity signifier. It can be. It can be. But like, why not just talk about things because you feel like you should talk about them, right? Not because whether or not it's a social identity signifier, right? Thank you for the follow, appreciate that. Hold on, folks. Never mind, I thought I was hearing something outside. Alright, so yeah, like the TLDR is like, if you want to talk about stuff and you want to run a content show or something like that, I would probably suggest to really be invested in it, right? You talk about things because they're important to you, and you feel like maybe you have something to say to the world, right? Alright folks, we've got a few, actually, some headlines to go through to catch up from yesterday, and I'm not in any type of rush, but, you know, we've got a few headlines to go through. But that's too logical? Yeah, I suppose. I guess the equivalent of saying, like, being the adult in the room, I guess. Sir Yogi, how's it going? Alright folks, there was a couple of headlines that I didn't get through. We got a little bit stun-locked yesterday, but that's okay. Okay? Here we go. Wind power risks becoming too cheap, says top turbine maker. Huh. Like as if what? That's a bad thing? I don't know. What's happening with that Google Doodle? That's so... What? Is that like... I thought it was like a Disney thing, but no, it's the Thanksgiving Doodle. Okie dokie. It's kind of weird. It's 1:30 a.m. and almost 90% humidity. I'm rather uncomfortable. Yikes, sorry about that, Sir Yogi. Oof. As someone who lives in Florida, I completely understand when it gets to very high levels of humidity. It is rather unbearable. The head of Siemens Gamesa warned on Wednesday that a decade-long race to bring down the cost of generating wind power could not continue, as it would reduce the financial muscle of turbine producers to continue investing in new technologies. That's so weird. A boom in investments in green energy to address climate change has helped bring down the cost of wind power to a level where it can compete with fossil fuels like coal and natural gas. What we've achieved is that wind power is now cheaper than anything else. But I believe we shouldn't make it too cheap. Wait, what? That's such a bizarre way of thinking about it, said Chief Executive Andreas Nauen told Reuters. In Europe, wind and solar currently are significantly cheaper than coal, natural gas, and nuclear power. Demand for wind turbines is at a record high. Sorry about that. Driven by the green transition, but lower prices and increased competition have squeezed margins. We've probably driven it too far. The industry's ability to keep investing in new technologies and factories will be reduced if the drive to cut the cost of wind power continues at the same rate. What? That's like so weird. It's so weird to think about it in that way. It's like, oh yeah, we gotta slow down because it's working too good? What? I saw some people trying to pin gas prices on Biden, but I thought it was OPEC that did the price fixing for oil. And didn't Trump work with them last year to internationally increase the price when it dropped to low? This is a problem with capitalism. Well, the thing is, like, obviously the president doesn't unilaterally decide the gas prices. And basically the only thing that they can do, essentially, to lower gas prices is release strategic stockpiles to flood the market, right? And lower the price, or attempt to lower the price. That's pretty much the only thing that a president can do, period. The oil and gas market, or I should say the oil market, is being basically handled by a very few, and therefore it causes a lot of problems, because that's not how, it causes a lot of market failures. It's almost like there's something more complex going on. Well, I mean, it's not more complex than it's working too well, so therefore we should step off the gas. I don't know. Wind turbine makers' operating margins are also being squeezed by rising costs stemming from the supply crunch and high prices of raw material such as steel. Okay, but like that's something that is going to stabilize itself within the next year or two. Both Siemens Gamesa and its main rival Vestas have said they've been able to pass on part of the higher cost to customers, which is likely to be reflected in higher auction price and power purchase agreements over time. Earlier this month, Vestas slashed its 2021 outlook for a second time this year and now expects an operating profit margin of 4% versus the 5 to 7%, a far cry from its long-term target of 10%. Siemens Gamesa has also pushed out the horizon at which it could expect to hit its long-term margin of 8 to 10% to 2024-2025 from 2023 previously. Oh no, just like 1 year or 2 years. Governments around the world are phasing out generous wind subsidies, opting for more competitive contract tenders, and favoring project developers that submit the lowest bids. Yeah, here's the thing, like, if we have such ability, if we have such the capability of producing renewable energy so cheap that it's like just completely steamrolling oil and gas, It's just like driving. It's being driven so cheap because it can be made so cheaply. Why not just do that? Why doesn't it have to like be a concern that it's being too cheap? The problem with being too low of profit, you don't get enough money to invest in furthering this or other technology, so the prices keep being too low. We slow down our technological advancement from the private sector. So that sounds like a private sector problem. Maybe we should just not. It might be that we're being lied to and it isn't really cheap. They're just saying that to score points. Wrong. I really doubt it. I saw a projection for our weather here, and we're heading into 4 months of constant rainfall. Last year we had 2 to 3 months, and statistically, and rainfall statically. And year before we had big bushfire. We had the big bushfire you heard. Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if things like that are going to continue. Yeah. So like my problem is like if we know that we can produce cheap renewable energy, why are we having this problem? So what you're saying is the fact that all of this is being so cheap, it can't create innovation. So you're saying that capitalism stifles innovation because the profit motive is not there? That's kind of weird. It's kind of a weird thing to say. It's going to be tough on the land. Huge fires and huge rain can really cause some damage to soil, among other things, yes. Maybe things like energy production shouldn't be privatized. We need to change auction systems in the future. He suggests criteria such as local job creation that should be considered instead of focusing only on price. There you go. Interesting. Exxon lobbyists suggest that climate change is not catastrophic, inevitable, a risk in undercover recording. Ah, yes. A lobbyist for ExxonMobil expressed doubt that climate change carries catastrophic inevitable risk in remarks made earlier this month, which were obtained by the watchdog group Documented. In the November 9th remarks, the Interstate Oil and Gas Compact Commission lobbyist Eric Oswald states that the way I look at it as a scientist is, all I need to think about is there risk? Yes, there's risk. Is it catastrophic inevitable risk? Not in my mind, but there's risk. Hold on. The first thing that you need to do is always look up who this person is. Eric Oswald? Wait, he's a geoscientist, or was. He's not a climate scientist. He's a petroleum geologist. What? He's got a BA in geoscience, earth science, geochemistry. What? He has nothing to do with climate. How could he make these statements? Geology or geographic? Yeah, rocks. They don't look at science more often. How does it help my clients? Argue, yeah. Upton Sinclair, it is difficult to get a man to understand something when his salary depends upon his not understanding it. That's how. That's a good point. Well, I would push back and say that they do understand, especially those climate scientists that are bought, which are far and few between, but there are some, there's a handful of them that know what they're doing, but they know what they're doing, but they just get really, really good money. But there is something true to that, to your point. There is something true to that, to your point, Coherent Dreams. There is something true to that. So how do you know if you're like, you see, like, this is like, what, like an appeal to authority or something like that? You're not like a climate scientist. You're a geologist. How do you know? And how, like, have you decided to look at all the evidence? Because, like, that seems to me like a weird way of thinking about it. Like, as a scientist, okay, but are you a scientist within this field that understands the complexity of climate change and all this other stuff? No, I'm a geologist. Okay, well, I mean... I have none of the facts, but I feel it isn't a problem, so let's keep drilling. Bjorn Lomberg is after money, but he's also completely bananas. I have no idea who that is. And so if we're going to work on this, you know, as a society, if we're going to work on this risk, my only ask is to let's do it efficiently and efficiently as possible. Find me the cheapest way to put most CO2 in the ground. Well, actually, wouldn't the most cheapest way to deal with this is class time, rating with a party of 35. How's it going, everybody? Hey, Kenzo. Sorry about that. How's it going, everybody? Welcome. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Happy Thanksgiving? Exactly. Plant some trees. We cut them down and then always replant new trees. The problem here with, I mean, yes, obviously we should make efforts to do restoration and cut our land degradation. However, we don't have time to... This doesn't mean that it doesn't have to be done, okay? It absolutely has to be done, like the replanting of trees and the restoration of our ecosystems has to happen no matter what. I'm just saying that we can't just rely on just that, as it takes time for trees to grow, right? It takes decades and decades and decades and decades for trees to get back to where they were, right? If you're planting them from scratch. We don't have that time. So, while you're right, it does need to be done, and we do need to stop cutting them down. It's not the only thing that we need to do, but I agree with you, that's a good point. We do need to replant trees. He's a climate change denier in Denmark, and he's one of the academics everyone loves to quote. Yikes. I appreciate that, class time. I hope you had a good stream. Thank you. Welcome, everybody. In case you guys don't know who we are A Difficult Truth. We do news and politics Monday through Thursday, 9 a.m. And join us on Saturdays for Saturday Saturdays. It is a miscellaneous stream. You never know what's going to happen in Saturdays. It might be an IRL stream, might be a video game stream, but one thing is for sure, there is kitty cats guaranteed. Doesn't solve the big picture, but important local changes. Oh yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. It has to be done. The restoration of local ecosystems do need to be done. We need to properly manage and plan our resource long term, not just quarter to quarter for corporate profits. True. True. Absolutely. That being said, everybody who's here and hasn't already, please go to twitch.tv/classtime. Okay? Twitch.tv/classtime. Oh. I was like, what is that sound outside? Ay, ay, ay. Correct, Pat Rat. Stop taking it out of the ground. At this point, we need to focus on carbon sequestration, but that isn't profitable, so I don't think it's getting enough attention. We need to focus on a lot of things. We need to do a lot of things. Dakapolion. Thank you for the follow, RSA. Find me the cheapest way to put the most CO2 in the ground, and that's what I'm willing to engage in a conversation with. Like, I don't know, it seems like deflecting, but okay. The recording first reported by the Washington Post, Oswald says the company thinks of such technology not as the crusaders who are going to be the climate fix, but rather looking at markets, comparing the business opportunities of a green premium to consumers' willingness to buy sugar-free food. What? The statement lacks appropriate context and not representative of the company's position on important issues, including climate change and carbon capture. Yeah, nice meme. Yeah, like, I'm sorry, but at this point, like, I really don't care what ExxonMobil was saying. Like, I really don't care. Like, they've lied so many times and continue to obfuscate so much that I just don't believe a single word that they say. It's just like, no, I just don't believe them. I just don't. ExxonMobil has long acknowledged that climate change is real. Yeah, we know, since the 70s and 80s. And poses serious risk. We know, since the 70s and 80s. In addition to our substantial investment in next-generation technologies, this is corporate speak, ExxonMobil also advocates for responsible climate-related policies. Nah. Exxon leaders have said they acknowledge the reality of climate change and fossil fuels' contribution to it, and they take the threat seriously. No, they don't. In October testimony before the House Oversight Committee, CEO Darren Woods testified that the energy company does not ask people to lobby anything different than our publicly supported positions. Nah, that's a lie. Holy yikes. That is a super lie. That isn't like that isn't like just a kind of like a white lie or a lying by omission. That is just a blatant lie. Do we need to play that video of the lobbyist who is saying that ExxonMobil says one thing but they actually are pushing for another? It's on video. Like, do these people think that like the internet doesn't exist? Do these people think like the internet doesn't exist, or are they hoping that people forget? Do they think like people are going to forget the video where they're explicitly saying ExxonMobil says one thing for PR? ExxonMobil says one thing for PR, but on the back end, they actually push for the opposite when it comes to actual policy. Wasn't there an ex-Exxon person that did a movie about how they do PR? I don't know, Pat Rat. I actually collected some seeds for local botanical gardens today. It's a bush that produces a native berry of which I ate. I have a few seedlings of another native fruit that I'm going to be putting in different spots, including the botanical garden and back into the natural environment. Nice. Nice. How can I make money to solve this issue? Not profitable? Never mind. True. Yeah, the internet does exist. Responsible meaning it doesn't hurt their profits. True. The testimony came months after the release of another recording in which Exxon lobbyist Keith McCoy told an undercover Greenpeace activist that the company fought against some of the science and has only expressed support for carbon pricing as a talking point. The company has disavowed his comments. Yeah, like listen, ExxonMobil has lied consistently throughout this entire thing, from the beginning to end. It has hidden research. It has lied. It has engaged in very effective misinformation, to the I guess to the parallels, or to equivocate the levels of misinformation to what the tobacco industry used to do. It's literally almost the same. It's a one-to-one analogy. Exxon is still funding right-wing climate change denial of media. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I'm saying. Exactly. They engage in massive misinformation, and they know exactly what they're doing. They know exactly what they're doing. There's no reason to trust a single word coming out of a company when it comes to the environment. Like, the amount of lies that a lot of companies, especially the big ones, have made when it comes to environmental evaluations and things like that, it's just very hard to trust. DuPont repeatedly lied for decades about PFAS chemicals. The tobacco industry lied about the effects for quite some time, and even had doctors out there. The pharmaceutical companies lied about their products for the profits for profit to the tune of billions. So what makes me trust what ExxonMobil has to say, especially when they're provable beyond a reasonable doubt that they've lied about this too? You don't have the background I do. I really don't care. Monsanto. Yeah, Monsanto. Monsanto is another one. Monsanto is like a massive corporation, and they've downplayed, hid, obfuscate a lot of the harm and destruction that their products did to not only people but to the environment too. I mean, we had that massive lawsuit about, what was it? Was it Roundup? Is that it? Was it Roundup? Because they know they're untouchable. True. Yeah, that's the video. Yes, Sir Yogi. That's the video where, like, oh yeah, it's completely fine. It's completely fine. Oh, so you're willing to drink it? Actually, I've got some of your product right here. You said it's safe to drink, right? And he wouldn't take it. Okay, I remember that video. Hey, Katrina Kaiju. Roundup, thank you. 9 out of 10 doctors smoke camels, true. You really don't know as much as you think you do. You're speaking in all these like vague general statements without really saying anything, so nice meme. Glyphosate / Roundup is still for sale? Yeah. Yep. Yeah, so excuse me if I don't believe a single word coming from ExxonMobil. Mike and Cat, buddy. You're saying, I mean, you're saying words. That's for sure. You're saying words, but you're not making any points. Despite the ban still being sprayed in Colombia. Wow. It was Keith McCoy that did the thing. It was a series of interviews that went over what Exxon was doing for lobbying. Yep. That's right. That's where this came from. That's the video that I was referring to earlier, where I'm saying, like, did these people think like the internet doesn't exist? Like, what did you think was happening? So the corporate multinationals are messing up the planet for profit. When they run out of profits, they'll beg for bailouts. We should just take them over and force them what to do. It's best for the planet. I think like a severe reckoning of like how we handle things is in order. That's for sure. We cannot allow companies to continue to not only like destroy the planet ecologically, not only destroy the planet ecologically, but like all the damage that it does to people's health, right? Like the idea that they're even allowed to push products that cause like, I don't know, cancer, that cause like all of these like, you know, problems with people's health, lungs, and things like that, and they're like allowed to obfuscate for the sake of profit is just like beyond me. You just go, oh yeah, I don't know, this is a troll, it's no need to pay attention. No need to pay attention. Decertification needs to be how do we deal with this thing, and corporations seize the assets and try the board. I mean, like, I think that we can effectively deal with these type of things by just not allowing it to happen in the first place, right? Like, if you have a corporation that is beyond like a reasonable doubt doing X, Y, or Z, they've got two choices. Either they stop, or they have no business operating, period. Like, if you have a company, like for example, the, I don't know, the pharmaceutical company, knowingly spreading and encouraging the use of opiates, or knowingly price gauging very important medicine through the roof, they've got two choices. Either stop or not operate. Like, those are your two choices. Yeah, I have no idea. It's like I don't like Hoss, like HOSS. They just spelled it weird, I think. But it's really a free market if they take all the profits. But is it really a free market if they take all the profits and beg for a bailout when they fail? No, it's not. The free market is a meme, okay? The free market is a meme. The free market is a meme because all these companies, especially when it comes to the fossil fuel industry, all these companies depend on government subsidy to even be profitable or survive. They depend on a lot of government subsidies, and they depend on a lot of government intervention for them to be for them to stay afloat, right? There's no such thing. Oh, I see what you mean, Sir Yogi. Gotcha. Okay, so I got it wrong. They're literally just trolls. Okay. Okay, I was wrong. Never mind. We can just ignore them. That's okay. Anyways, the TLDR is, excuse me for not believing a single word. And really, really interesting that they're trying to, with this very article, the existence of this very article, is kind of, I would argue, borderlining irresponsible, right? Even this very article is borderlining irresponsible, in my opinion. Can you name a bailout that wasn't? The PPP loans. Hold on, folks. I hear my kitty cat. That is true. Sorry about that, folks. I knew I heard my kitty cat in the background. I was like, President Joe Manchin calls on Biden to restore the Keystone XL pipeline. I continue to call on President Biden to responsibly increase energy production here at home and to reverse course to allow the Keystone XL pipeline to be built, which would have provided our country with up to 900,000 barrels of oil per day from Canada, one of our closest allies. Because that's what we need to do. Pump, baby, pump. To be clear, this is about energy independence. Wrong. Wrong. The best thing to do for energy independence is to not rely on fossil fuels. Wait. That's like the opposite, right? The opposite. If you want to be truly energy independent, you would be trying to focus on how to be as renewable as possible. That is energy independence. Focus all your efforts and technology and R&D into decoupling yourself from something such as oil, which is finite. Like, wait, the best thing that you could do for energy independence would be to decouple yourself from something that A, is incredibly destructive, B, not only incredibly destructive to the environment, to the planet, but like just overall bad for your for health, for humans and wildlife too, but finite as well. Was to make sure they didn't fire their employees, which they could not have done. But they could have done and not necessarily needing that money. Maybe. They could have bailed out the homeowners in 2008 and let the big banks fail. Would have been cheaper and caused less chaos. I have no idea. You know about the sand running out? No. But fossil fuels are a finite resource. It's the Bedouin tar sands, the dirtiest oil in the world. Yeah, that's true. But Daddy Trump says we need oil. We need oil and gas to be energy chads. True. When do you think humans got so greedy, possessive, and racist? Well, I think there's been plenty of times where that's been like a really, really centered kind of thing. But throughout history, we've definitely had eras of that. Yeah, so this is not about American energy independence. If you want to decouple our grid, if you want to really try to bring about American energy independence, then you would be focusing on renewables, right? Something that is not so finite, such as oil. The fact that you're even making the point that we're relying on like OPEC for fuel instead of trying to do what we can to make our energy grids renewable. And the fact that hardworking Americans should not depend on foreign actors like OPEC for our energy security, instead focus on real challenges facing our country's future, he said, adding to referring to the group of major oil-producing countries. Manchin's call for action came shortly after the Biden administration announced a plan on Tuesday to release 50 million barrels of oil from the nation's strategic petroleum reserve in order to curb rising gas prices. In February, Manchin reportedly sided with Republicans who urged Biden to rethink canceling a permit for the pipeline, arguing that the pipeline across the country continues to be the safest mode of transport of our oil and natural gas resources, and they support thousands of high-paying American union jobs. Well, actually, I don't know if I really buy that. From my understanding, they are temporary jobs, right? I heard a figure of like 11,000, but they're like temporary to build the pipeline, and then that's it. The actual permanent jobs are like less than 100. Well, they only use certain sand for building industries and glass making, and there's not much less they can mine. Yikes. It's about Joe Manchin peddling shit for truth once again, and no one pushing back on this BS narrative. Yeah, like, of course, that's our job, right? Manchin also addressed the issue of inflation, which has absolutely nothing to do with gas or energy independence, but okay. In the country last week, mentioning his belief that Democrats' Build Back Better Act, which was recently passed by the House, will be taken up the Senate, would not help lower pricing. Ah, yes, blessed be thy economist big brain President Joe Manchin. They see the cost every day and they go to fill up is $1.25 more of a gallon, he said, of rising gas prices. $3.29. What? $3.39? Okay, so wait. Gas prices are completely separate from what we're experiencing when it comes to like other things that we buy, right? Like these are different things controlled by different levers, right? We know the reason why gas prices are getting high. We know the reason why milk is getting high. Hey Thandera, how's it going? The safest as long as you put the pipeline on Native American lands. We don't want it running through golf clubs or anywhere near. Like the problem with like pipelines is that the problem with pipelines is that while it is sort of true that they are the safest, more economical way of transporting oil, the problem is we need to stop. We need to stop, period. Okay? We need to stop, period. All that jobs that he's talking about, all that effort needs to be put into try to decouple ourselves from the fossil fuel industry. It needs to be put, that effort, it needs to be put in renewables. Okay? It needs to be put in renewables. That's where the jobs are too, if you're interested in that. Will gas and diesel go up? The truck that delivers the milk pays a little more, so the milk goes a little up. I guess a cent here adds up. Maybe that's part of it too. Maybe you're right. Maybe I'm the one that's wrong. Maybe I'm the one that's taking an L here. Find better ways to use oil, sort of like trying to moderately... Right. The point being is... we need to stop, period, full stop. Like, that's the whole goal, right? We stop. Like, what is this, like... can they not, like... innovate or think about something beyond that? A gallon of milk is now $4 in many places. It's taking a toll, and I hear when I go to the grocery store, I go to the gas station, I say, are you as mad as I am? Yeah, but these issues aren't because, like, these issues have other factors in it too. Biden has expressed his views on ending American dependence on fossil fuel. Yeah, I mean, he's expressed his views, but has done nothing. This is the decade that will determine the answer. This decade, he said, during an international climate summit earlier this month. The science is clear. We only have a brief window left before us to raise our ambitions and to meet the task that's rapidly narrowing. While that is true, and he is correct that this would be the pivotal crossroads, the answers aren't there. The answers aren't there. Cow's milk isn't good for you anyways, bad analogy. Well, yeah, I mean, like, but I think that his point was something inflation, something. This is why we need to pump more oil. That's his point. I think that this is just the exact opposite of what we need to be doing. Unfortunately, the statement here that this is the decade that will determine the answers, and this is the decade to do stuff, is true. But unfortunately, not much is being moved in that direction. Just about fuck all. Just about fuck all. Anyways, thank you for enlightening us, President Joe Manchin. Thank you. Speaking of energy independence, the biggest problem facing the US electric grid isn't demand, it's climate change. The power grid in the US is aging and already struggling to meet current demands. It faces a future with more people who drive more electric cars and heat homes with more electric furnaces. Households, that's not even the biggest problem the country's electricity infrastructure faces. Everything that we've built, including the electric grid, assumed a stable climate. It looked to the extremes of the past, how high the seas got and how high the winds got and the heat. Hill is an energy and environmental expert at the Council of Foreign Relations. She served on the National Security Council during Obama, where she led an effort to develop climate resilience. She says past weather extremes can no longer safely guide future electricity planning. It's a little like we're building a plane as we're flying because the climate is changing right now and it's picking up speed as it changes. True, that actually is true. The newly passed infrastructure bill dedicates billions to updating the energy grid. Hill says utility companies and public planners around the country are already having to adapt. She points to the storm surge of Hurricane Sandy in 2012. They thought that the maximum would be 12 feet. The storm surge came in close to 14. It overcame the barriers at the tip of Manhattan, and then the electric grid and the substation blew out. The city that never sleeps was plunged into darkness. Hill noted that Con Edison, the utility company providing NYC with energy, responded with upgrades to its grid. It buried power lines, introduced artificial intelligence, upgraded software to detect failures, but upgrading the way humans assess risk. She says it's harder. What happens is some people tend to think, well, the last storm that we had will be the worst, right? No, there's always a worse storm ahead, and then probably that will be exceeded, right? Like that literally has happened, right? I remember just true. I'm not wholly convinced it's just Biden. Can you imagine he has an army of corporate backers screaming oil? Yeah, no, I'm not. So I'm not saying it's just, well, I'm not saying it's just Biden or Manchin. I'm saying they're the face, and they're the ones who are taking the blame here. Didn't they have a nice photo op in Copenhagen or something that will go down nice in the history books, I'm sure? The world leaders meet and did nothing as the world burned. True. True. Yeah. What can I say? But yes, the idea that this will just always be the worse it gets is incorrect and a naive way of thinking things. I remember in the 90s, Hurricane Andrew was like a historic, and traumatic event for Florida. They and it was believed to be like, wow, like this is the peak. Like we'll never see another Andrew. Wrong. In 2021, the U.S. electricity outages for millions of people as a result of historic winters in Texas, a heat wave in the Pacific Northwest, and Hurricane Ida along the Gulf Coast. Climate change will only make extreme weather more likely and more intense, and that has forced utility companies and other entities to grapple with the question, how can we prepare for something we've never experienced before? Gee, I don't know. Maybe attempting to address the root cause of the problem, and maybe doing what you can to put all your effort into mitigating this would probably be a good idea. I don't know. There's only been decades of data behind this. There's only been, this recent report of over, 14,000 scientists across the world. An international cooperation of over 14,000 scientists got together and said, hey, here it is, here's the problem. And have been more adamant in this report than ever. Maybe, I don't know, maybe we could just ask them. Maybe we could refer to these reports. Like, this is such a weird, weird way of thinking. Like, oh man, I just don't know what to do, man. We just don't know what to do. I don't know. In the town of Edgemere, Maryland, the Fitzelt substation of Baltimore Gas and Electric delivers electricity to homes and businesses. The facility is only a year or so old. And Laura Wright, the director of transmission and substation of engineering, says it's been built with the future in mind. She says 4 transformers on site are plenty for now, and to counter the anticipated demand for population growth and a future resilience on electric cars, she says the substation has been designed for an easy upgrade. They're not projecting to need that additional capacity for a while, but we designed the station to be able to take that transformer out and put a larger one. Slopes were designed to insulate the substation from sea level rise, and should the substation experience something like a catastrophic flooding event or deadly tornado, there's a plan for that. If we were to have a failure of a transformer, we can bring one of those mobile transformers into the substation and park it in the substation, connect it up in place of that transformer. We could do that in 2 to 3 days. The Fitzell substation is newer, modern, complex. Older sites can be knocked down for weeks. Yikes. That raises the question, can the amount of money dedicated to power grid in the new infrastructure legislation actually make meaningful changes to the energy system across the country? The infrastructure bill, unfortunately, only scratches the surface, says Daniel Cohen, associate professor in civil and environmental engineering at Rice University. Though the White House says $65 billion of the infrastructure legislation is dedicated to power, Infrastructure World Resource Institute analysis noted that only $27 billion would go to the electric grid. A figure that Cohen also used. If you drill into how much there is for the power grid, it's only $27 billion, and mainly for research and demonstration projects and some ways to get started. Cohen, who's the author of the forthcoming book Confronting Climate Gridlock, says federal taxpayer dollars can be significant, but that most of that needed investment will eventually come from the private sector, from utility companies and other businesses spending many hundreds of billions of dollars per decade. But like, I don't see that as a thing. I don't see that as a thing. I have flunked more people out of college than your age. You don't know shit about the environment. Oh, please. Please. Tell me. Show me. Show me. This is why I point out the financial sector in my first. Oh yeah, you guys are on some other tip. Let's ask. Yeah, it's not a thing. Let's ask AT&T where the billions that were supposed to upgrade broadband to rural areas went. Corporate bonuses, I'm sure. Yeah, like, hey, so somebody who flunked more people out of college can't even spell fracking. Yikes. Fracking is cutting. Fracking is costing us our waterways. Yes, I know that. Fracking is costing water, among other things. He also says the infrastructure package misses some opportunities to initiate that private sector action through mandates. It's better than nothing, but you know, with such momentous challenges that we face, this isn't really up to the magnitude of the challenge. Yet it seems to be a consistent theme, right? When it comes to like climate action, it seems to be a consistent theme, right? Alright, I'm gonna check it out right now. Wait, is this a video? Oh yeah, it is. Alright. We need to look at the patents that hold real green energy back. Sure.
Beach vacation.
Alright, let me pause that. Let me finish this here and we'll move on. This seems to be a common theme throughout this ordeal, right? Throughout this whole BBB, our debate for climate legislation, it seems to me like that is a consistent theme across the board, right? Although it's better than nothing and absolutely some of these things need to be done, it really isn't up to the magnitude of that challenge, right? Like that's basically the overarching theme that seems to be kind of like consistent, right? Cohen argues that thinking big, not incrementally, can pay off. He believes a complete transition from fossil fuels to clean energy by 2035 is realistic and attainable, a goal that the Biden administration holds and could lead to more than just environmental benefit. It can also lead to more affordable electricity, more reliable electricity, a power supply that bounces back more quickly when extreme events come through. So we're not just doing it to be green or to protect our air and climate, but we can actually have a much more better and reliable energy supply in the future. Like like energy independence. Yeah, like that. Like that. I got my physics degrees in the early 90s believing in saving the planet. Well, that's a noble cause. I have been and always fought for the environment. Well, that's a noble cause. So have I. Especially as I get into politics. Yeah, so TLDR, consistent theme is we need to just get to work. That's really what it is. That's really what it is get to work. Realistically, only if the government can wean itself off fossil fuel campaign donations and pass legislation to end fossil fuel subsidies. That's something that needs to be done. Hey, Base of PJ, how's it going? Jai Bureaucrat, how's it going? Yeah, the thing with like nuclear, while it is something to think about, the big issue with nuclear, the particular problem that I have is the conundrum here. The conundrum I'm having here is the time frame it takes to get these plants online versus the time frame that we have versus the already A, cheaper, B, readily available renewables should probably hold priority, right? Like, I suspect that going for solar, wind, and depending on how you do it, hydroelectric would be cheaper, faster, and something that can be deployed right now. That's basically my big problem with it. Like, we have something that is very cheap, very available, and something that we can get on board quicker. On their own? Oh, I'm not saying on their own. I'm saying like a complete overhaul about how we think about renewable energy is what I would argue for. It takes a lot of energy to make the fuel, plus the waste lasts thousands of years. The ideal world would see the public and commercial need done via nukes, while our homes are done with green. With nukes there to back us up. We shouldn't be decommissioning nuclear plants early because they just get replaced with gas and coal. Just look at Germany. Yeah, no, I agree. Wait, no, I agree. I wouldn't want to stop nuclear plants that are already on board in favor of coal. Yeah, I wouldn't want to like... I wouldn't want to replace nuclear energy for coal. Please don't trash my country. I feel bad as it is right now. Yeah, like I'm not in favor of taking nuclear plants offline for favor of coal. Like, that makes no sense. No sense whatsoever. It probably would be best if you just keep those online and make sure that those are properly maintained. Yeah. If it's a choice between like continuing to maintain a nuclear plant that's already there and decommissioning it in favor of a coal plant, of course I'm going to choose the one that's nuclear. That makes no sense. They have reburn reactors that you could build the next door. Reburn the spent fuel for more juice and decrease mining. Yeah, I think like... I think that... oh man, what is it? Fusion? Fusion. Would be nice. No, I don't understand it, but from what I looked up, it has something to do with, like, the way electricity is transmitted. Ultra high voltage... something. Direct current. It's just some way of, alternative way of, transmission of electricity. Are we also starting to build small nuclear plants, which helps with scalability problems and are needed more isolated communities? Yeah, I mean, like, if there's just absolutely no way we can get renewables and that's the only solution left, then yeah. A lot of the waste, though, is just contaminated with radiation, not spent fuel. The biggest issue right now is our transmission, and battery tech is in the effing Stone Ages. I don't know about that either. We've had very good improvements in our battery tech. We even have the theoretically, we could move in a direction where we have closed loop systems to stack to stash electricity with batteries. Battery tech is being held back by patents. I could believe that. I actually could believe that. I actually could believe that.
But it's used for more than just sandcastles. You may think of sand as part of your beach vacation, but it's used for more than just sandcastles. It's a commodity like oil and copper and gold.
If you look around you, everything is made of sand.
It's a pretty crucial commodity, and even though sand can be found in nearly every single country on Earth, we could soon face a sand shortage. Sand is only second to water as the most consumed raw material worldwide. Sand mining is the largest mining industry in the world, and yet it flies under the radar, largely unregulated and unknown.
All our society is basically built on sand. And how come there's no monitoring on that? And how come people are ready to kill someone else for sand in some region?
It's used in construction, like critical infrastructure. And President Biden is diverting a lot of his attention to America's infrastructure. Sand is also used in chemical production, water filtration, fracking, and of course, glass. So all of your windows, computers, and cell phones.
You know, it's literally everywhere. We're driving on it, we're sitting in it, we're looking through it. It's absolutely extraordinary. I'm really starting to be concerned about what happens if we don't have this anymore.
Sand use around the world has tripled in the last 20 years. That's far greater than the rate that sand is being replenished.
One of the biggest sustainability challenges of the 21st century, simply because of the scale of the problem. The more I learned about it, the more alarmed I became.
So the world is facing a sand crisis. And that's a problem. I know what you're thinking. Yes, sand is everywhere. How can there be a shortage?
Actually, in some places, the world was running out. And it's such a hard concept to get your head around because you think of coastlines and expansive deserts and just see so much of it that to think of it not being there is very, very challenging.
It's a classic example of the tragedy of the commons, an economic concept where everyone is incentivized to keep consuming a natural resource, even if it ends in overconsumption, and ultimately the total depletion of that resource.
So is it a crisis or not? And that's one of the hard things with this topic, that it's a problem that manifests in very different ways in very different places. So I bet you if you were in a community where sand mining is going on, like, this is not a surprise to you at all.
I grew up in Bangalore in South India. As I grew up, I constantly read reports about rivers being decimated because of sand mining. And at the same time, I saw hundreds and hundreds of sand-filled trucks flying up and down the roads in the city of Bangalore. That was when the city was being transformed to the Silicon Valley of India, basically. Construction boom happening all over, and all that sand was coming from precious places.
Construction has caused a steep increase in demand for sand, and a lot of sand is being extracted from oceans
I'm doing it on
and
purpose.
rivers.
It's not just shortage in the market, it's shortage in the natural environment.
I'm doing it on purpose because I don't want to get hit with that DMCA. So I've just been like putting something else. So it's a little neat trick that I do. It's a little neat trick that I do. Hey yo, how's it going? Howdy, howdy. Yeah, leftist production, y'all no video for you. True. True. It's exactly what it is. No, I do it on purpose. The information is what's important. I'm over here coming at you and shit. True. It's going happy to be home, honestly. Same. It's the information that's important. Correct. That's why I have it playing in the background instead of like instead of trying to risque DMCA thing, because like it's so weird. Like playing clips like this can get you DMCA'd from the news like company. It's like, shouldn't you be happy that we're playing this? It's your clip. I don't know. Seems weird.
That has to be talked about. The concern is that there's literally not enough sand on coastlines in a context of rising sea levels and increased storms.
Sand crafted by water is more valuable than desert sand, eroded by wind. That makes desert sand too smooth, it doesn't bind together as well as other types of sand. Sand sourced and extracted from seabeds, coastlines, quarries, or rivers is more angular, so it locks together. And that's important because this kind of sand is a key ingredient in cement and concrete.
And concrete is made up of 65 to 75% sand and gravel.
Then there's glass. Sand, gravel, and rock, crushed together, are melted down to make the glass used in every window, computer screen, and smartphone.
Glass is
I'm
about
somewhere
70% silica sand.
in the US.
So there are very specific types of sand.
Yeah, there
that
are ways around the
required for specific
DMCA for
uses.
fair use and stuff.
And these places are limited.
Even the production of silicon computer chips uses sand. But extracting sand can damage the environment.
Extractions of marine sand, coastal sand, beach is the worst, and rivers is something that is leading to tremendous environmental impact.
For oceans, well, imagine you scrape sand off the bottom of the ocean. That's going to affect the microorganisms that live in the ocean floor. That's going to affect the fish that eat the microorganisms, and then the fish that eat those fish. Basically, the sand removal affects an entire ecosystem. Sand is the most extracted resource in the world by volume, surpassing even fossil fuels. Actually, even extracting oil and gas uses a lot of sand, like in fracking. And yet, sand has been easy to ignore.
Essentially, it's invisible in our minds and in the way that we manage the resource. We don't think about it like a strategic resource, and yet it is everywhere in our societies and our economies.
And as a result, we're wasting these resources. And in 2019, we produced this report, which was submitted to the United Nations Environmental Assembly, and it was used for making a new resolution on global mineral governance, and it was adopted by all countries, and it was the first time that countries recognized that we have a problem with sand.
This concept of panicking, it reminds me a little bit of Greta Thunberg talking about, I want you to panic
I want you to panic.
when she was talking to the World Economic Forum. And they didn't quite go that far.
Panicking will never be a solution because we will need sand forever. It's something that we need a lot. So we need to be much wiser on the way we use the resource.
Right now, it's not really possible to monitor global sand use.
We just don't know enough. We don't have that global picture or that holistic picture of the extraction sites, the extraction volumes, where it's coming from, where it's going to, how it's being used.
But it can be measured indirectly.
Construction is the biggest demand sector. We know that.
There's a very, very good correlation
True,
between the
basic
use of
PJ.
sand and cement. The UN estimates that 4.1 billion tons of cement is produced every year. And for each ton of cement, 10 tons of sand and gravel are used. Do the math, and
41 billion tons of sand and gravel.
that's enough to build a wall nearly 89 feet high by 89 feet wide that wraps around the planet every year. And that's just sand used in cement production. Demand for cement is driven primarily by China, where construction is booming.
In the last 2 decades, the amount of sand that we've been using has been multiplied by 3. More than 58% is being used.
There are other ways of creating these materials, right? There are other ways of creating sustainable construction materials, or at least much better than the ways we're doing it here. Just saying. Just saying, hempcrete.
In China.
Part of the problem is some countries don't have regulations in place.
And then you have people who take sand from the beach.
Yes, it's a baby bat. I think we need a cute animal video after this. Come on.
Take sand from anywhere because they have to make their living. If you have a shovel and access to a truck, then you're an entrepreneur. You're taking sand and you're selling it.
In some parts of the world, there are even sand mafias.
There are sand mafia. It is a problem.
I don't know if that's how that works. Cocter, I don't know if that's how that works.
Not exist. It's not even illegal to take sand.
Plus, the world faces a rapidly growing population. By 2050, the world could reach nearly 10 billion people.
Africa is going to see its population doubling from now to 2050. People are shifting from their villages to join the cities. That will request more infrastructure in the cities. All of that will request a lot of sand.
Sand can't be extracted or sourced sustainably to meet demand from a world of 10 billion people without effective planning and regulation.
If you're a local government, you need to have a solid land planning. Identify where the sand and gravel should be extracted.
The challenge is understanding where it's okay to take it from and how much.
So it's important to plan ahead and to plan alternatives.
It's a time for innovations in this area.
There's no one-size-fits-all solution for the looming sand crisis.
We need many solutions that, will also work together. It's not going to be like one alternative material is going to make the difference. I think it's going to have to be a big group effort, a big push collectively to figure this out.
Finding alternatives to sand, including recycled materials, may help.
We can recycle concrete so that we're not wasting that by dumping these resources as a waste, because it's not a waste, it can be recycled.
That's so weird. Why wouldn't you want to recycle?
Extreme cost to the environment and just
why wouldn't you want to recycle, especially if you have the ability to do so when it comes to like saving costs in construction? Why wouldn't you want to do that? That makes no sense.
Society, but that isn't factored in. We kind of build things and then at the end of life, we simply toss it in the landfill. So it's a very linear economy. But changing this to a circular economy can be a significant solution. And the circular economy is a way that keeps materials in use for longer.
We can improve extracting in a better way by doing environmental impact assessment prior to mine, then mining in an appropriate way, respecting social and environmental conditions.
Or
then we can reduce the amount of sand by being much more clever on how we use it. So that means planning for
or trying to, make things from different materials. Wait, what? Just try to make things from different materials, like hempcrete? What? Why is this not being mentioned?
Longer term, in terms of having a building that is knocked down after 20, 30 years, we expand that to 50, 60 years.
Sand is a finite resource. Every time we remove sand from the ecosystem, we are taking away critical habitat. We are taking away coastal security because the sand along the coast acts as a storm buffer. So when we extract sand, it comes at a cost. And this needs to be really, really balanced with the needs of future generations.
True. True.
Ouais, c'est bien. On s'entraîne, Barnabé.
Quand Barnabé est arrivé, il était très faible et très froid. Pierrick a contacté le numéro d'urgence en nous expliquant qu'il avait trouvé un jeune bébé chauve-souris au pied du mur de sa maison qui ne bougeait pas.
C'est normal.
Les chauves-souris sont sensibles aux variations de température liées au changement climatique. Trop chaud, c'est pas bon, trop froid, c'est pas bon. Barnabé a eu un coup de chaud, et du coup, il est tombé de la colonie au sol. C'était un tout petit bébé chauve-souris de quelques jours, mais on lui a dit qu'on allait tout faire pour essayer de le sauver.
Yes. This is a cute animal video. I think we need it.
Nous avons des très petites seringues pour alimenter toutes les 3 heures.
C'est toujours appréciable quand elle mange bien. Elle a bien bu toute la nuit, donc ça fonctionne. Super. À surveiller. Super.
À la fin du repas, on va avoir une phase de câlin. Oui. Pour qu'il s'apaise, pour qu'il digère, pour lui apporter une chaleur que lui aurait apporté sa mère.
On voit même qu'ils ronronnent. Les chauves-souris ont cette tendance à vibrer au contact de la chaleur comme ça.
Une fois qu'on l'a réalimenté et réchauffé, on a vu qu'il a commencé à déambuler sur nos doigts. C'était quand même un signe qu'il était bien.
Did we have a redeem or just to appease the masses? It's not about appeasing. I think that it's a.
Dès qu'on peut, on les met avec d'autres et qu'elles soient pas seules.
These doctors are really brave in dealing with a baby bat during Corona. Yeah, but I mean, that would
Barnabé
be.
s'est
That's really
retrouvé
weird.
avec 4 petites chauves-souris pour
His
qu'ils
little mouth, yeah, it's so
s'automotivent dans
cute.
l'élevage. Ils se sont rapprochés, ont commencé à se pendre par les pattes. Ils ont recréé ce lien qu'ils avaient dans leur nurserie.
Barnabé est là. On va permettre de voir si les ailes se déplient bien. Voilà. Vas-y, étire-toi.
Que petit à petit, elles commencent à battre des ailes. Elles ont besoin de décoller leurs ailes et de les faire fonctionner. C'est magnifique.
Ouais, c'est bien. Ça, c'est joli.
Et puis petit à petit, on va voir qu'elles vont commencer à s'envoler.
Oh oui. Alors là, on va passer
Have
au
you had a
test
happy day?
d'envol.
No,
On
but
lâche Barnabé demain. Du coup, on va
think
voir
it's
si elle est
necessary.
apte pour partir
I
et
am the
voler
night.
de ses propres ailes.
there's actually a
Donc, je
pangolin.
vais
Yes,
relâcher mon pouce.
that is definitely
Il est bien
a.
réveillé. Il bouge la tête.
I think that they
Il
arrived at
observe.
the conclusion that
Ça
it's
devrait pas
quite
tarder.
possible that it jumped from a pangolin. I think I've even mentioned it several times that it is a possibility that that's exactly where
Il prend son envol et vole au-dessus de nos
it
têtes.
came from. They eat mosquitoes, yes they
Ça veut
do.
dire qu'il est prêt.
Well, some bats do. Some bats are fruit
Et que
bats.
demain, le relâcher sera au top.
Barnabé pesait à son arrivée 1,52 g et aujourd'hui, il pèse 5,07 g.
Yep, that's right.
Et Barnabé va s'envoler ce soir.
Pierrick aura l'occasion de relâcher lui-même Barnabé pour lui dire un dernier au revoir. Bonjour Pierrick,
Bonjour.
ça va bien?
Oui, et vous?
Oui, très bien.
A pangolin is like an artichoke mixed with an armadillo.
Ce soir, car c'est une réussite.
Je te laisse rentrer.
We have no
Merci.
conclusive evidence
Voilà,
of
t'as
that,
mis les
Mikey
gants, c'est
Cat.
bon. Donc on va contrôler que Barnabé va bien pour voir s'il pourra être relâché ce soir. Et voilà. Et là, je te la dépose dans la main. Est-ce que t'as chaud aux mains? T'es chaud aux mains. Voilà. Tout doucement.
They are really cute.
Elle a bien grossi, on voit bien que ses poils ont poussé, qu'ils ont changé de couleur.
Aww.
On voit qu'elle est en meilleure forme que quand je l'ai amenée.
Tu veux essayer de lui donner à manger? Ça, elle adore. Barnabé est fan des petits vers.
C'est assez réjouissant
That's so
de se dire
cute.
qu'il y a quelques semaines, elle est passée pas loin de la mort et que maintenant, elle est en pleine forme et qu'elle va se débrouiller toute seule.
Ouh là là. Voilà. Barnabé a très envie de sortir,
Barnaby.
donc on va pouvoir sortir pour préparer le relâcher. Ça te va?
Elle est vraiment
This is
pleine.
France, right?
Si on pouvait changer nos habitudes par rapport au réchauffement
We
climatique,
could
ça
change our
serait
habitat, we
important
could change
pour les
climate
animaux et
change.
leur survie.
Love it. Love it. Yeah, definitely. It definitely sounds French. They are so cute. Yeah, like they're like the size of your thumb. I've seen those before. Or rather, I've seen like videos and pictures of them. Alright, folks, I'm gonna take a quick break. Let me see here.
Shadow was the most uncoordinated. He crawled into a tube.
Alright, I'm gonna take a quick break. And I will be right back, folks.
When it kind of got super dizzy.
Yeah, it's a winged doggo.
I don't know how he managed it.
BRB, folks.
Four babies were found in a box. Moon, Shadow, Luna, and Star.
Tiny little girl.
They were not even a week old, but they were healthy. When I get a new raccoon in, if I make the little sound that they do, they will tend to warm up to me a little bit quicker. I'll just purr back to them, I guess. I don't know. It's like, and they rush to the front of the crate like, hey. I guess it's just sounds that their moms make. They start this like frantic. I had them on the floor and they can't stand up right away, so they slip and fall all the time. They're just kind of aimlessly roaming, and it's like watching bumper cars almost. Shadow was always the adventurous one. He was the one that go off on his own and find something to get into.
Where are you going?
I don't know how many times I had to look for him. A lot of times I'd find him in odd places.
Silly babies.
If he could find a way to climb up onto something, he would.
Where you going, youngin? Sleepy.
He definitely was the most uncoordinated, and then he turned into the most adventurous. Trying to walk. It doesn't take them long once they start going.
Sorry about that. Yes, they are good boys.
Moon's in the lead. They pretty much figured I was mom, so they came to me no matter what. They start jumping on each other and playing. Just watching them learn and grow.
Oh my gosh.
I love these little raccoons. They're so
That
cute.
stage is the fun stage because they're fun to watch.
They're so cute. I could watch these videos all day. I could literally watch these videos all
Until they're
day.
ready to go outside to the outdoor enclosure. When they go in, of course, they're all over looking around. I'll put the pool out and let them play. They love it out there.
I could literally sit here and watch them all day.
Goodness. Did y'all throw a rager last night? What's going on?
And then I start distancing myself.
This is the best
so
channel
that they
ever.
can learn
True.
to
I
be
could literally
wild.
play the like. I could probably play like back to back videos.
When I brought them to the
And I would be
release cage,
completely
they
fine
were a
with that.
little more nervous. They stayed like, up on top of the boxes, not sure what was going on. But I know once I opened the cage,
That's
they were
right,
more than
Chibir Cat.
happy to go.
One more. Okay, another one. All right, let's do one more. Like I said, I'm in no rush. We can do one more. Let's see here.
Gifts for elves, check. Now just in the dang coupon code.
Hold your reindeer, Santa. Capital One shot.
What?
We noticed that he's not. Early on, we noticed that he's not a morning skunk. Until he saw that we actually had his milk. Then all of a sudden he turned into the most lovable, friendly skunk.
Lets his vacation
We
plans
found him
slip.
abandoned. He
True.
was wandering around.
There's a
crying,
channel on
looking
Twitch that
for his
just
mom.
it's just otters in a rescue
After the
center.
first week
What?
of him being
That's
here, we
awesome.
noticed that his personality started to shine through.
When are you gonna bite me?
What's in your wallet? Nothing.
Stomping Tom got his name because he was extremely expressive in the way that he would stomp.
That's so cute.
He would do it all the time.
Stomp in my arms. You spray in the towel. You spray every time we touched you. Yeah.
He's definitely the most grumpy one out of the group.
Aw, look, I'm sorry, but this little skunk is incredibly
Then
cute.
he was introduced to a playpen with other orphan skunks. So then he could learn his social behaviors.
Marine Mammal Rescue, yeah, go follow, folks.
When we introduced him to the other skunks, it was clear from the get-go that he wanted to be top dog. He would go around stomping at everyone, saying, "I am the boss."
Yeah, Sam ain't working today, true.
Normally by the end of the day, they're all friends, they're all cuddled up together.
Aww.
Him and this other orphan skunk called Pepe Le Pew, they were very, very close, and they would literally wander around following each other around.
If you mess with them and they spray you, then not so good. Not so good. They themselves are fine.
Obviously, it is a little bit of a bittersweet moment, but you're happy because you know that these animals are back where they're supposed to be in Mother Nature.
Animal releases give me anxiety. Why? Like that's like the whole like point of it. Right? That's the whole like that's the best feeling, right? That, you know, you rescued an animal, or if you work in these like, you know, if you work in these wildlife rescue centers and you put so much effort into just kind of helping this animal and releasing them, is like the best thing. I always just picture a predator. Yeah, but that's not how it works. That's not always the case. And besides, like, they're animals. They deserve to be outside. I know you want to... I know you just, like, want to keep them and protect them, but, like... yeah, they belong outside. They belong outside. Right, it's worth it to have 1 day of freedom, right? Especially like I said, if I worked in like these wildlife rescue centers, that would be like the epitome of excitement, right? Because like that's what you want. You want these animals to get back to where they belong. Say no to pets and befriend the local fauna. True. Thank you for the follow. Appreciate that. Skunks are underappreciated. Yeah, like skunks, and I believe Chai Bureaucrat mentioned like opossums. Like they get like bad raps. It's really weird to me. They're just animals, dude. And opossums are incredibly beneficial. Opossums are incredibly beneficial. I don't know why they get such a bad rap. They're cute. Howdy, howdy. Why do we love some animals and not others? Yeah, I don't know. It's really weird. I don't know. I don't know. It's like graduation day. There's always more animals that need rescuing. That's true. So then you, yeah, like I that would be cool when an opossum comes at you in the dark, hissing and terrifying. Well, it's more terrifying for them than it is for you, because if they're in that position, chances are you scared the living crap out of them. So that's why. Most of the times they'd rather run. Most of the times they'd rather just leave. That's a good question. Why do we love some animals more than others? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. We've got a few redemptions. Okay. All right, we're going to do another cute animal video because it has been declared. And okay, so first we'll get a dab. So we got Darknet's redemption for another one. We've got a dab, which we just did. We've got another cute animal video, and we got to get up and do a ukulele rift. Okay, we'll get that done. First, let's figure out another cute animal video. Thank you, appreciate that. Yeah, like opossums just kind of eat almost anything, right? And I don't know about you, but I think they're cute.
We called him...
Whoa. I think they're cute. Squirrel. Could do the squirrel one that was just done 2 hours ago. Let's check it out.
Gifts for elves, check.
I've had a few opossum visitors in my... Oh, sorry, hold on, folks. In my parents' house. We've had a few opossum visitors. I also saw the other... Like, this was a very long time ago. I had a basilisk visitor that was out there in our parents' yard for quite a while. I think it was there for... We saw it for a couple of weeks, and we suspect that it might have been like a escapee, because to my knowledge, I do not think the basilisk lizard is a native Florida lizard. It's snowing out. What? Till this day, and I am somewhere between late 20s, early 30s. Okay? somewhere in that area. I'm a millennial-ish person. No, I'm squarely in the millennial area. Till this day, I've never seen snow. Till this day, I've never seen snow. Florida has a few reptiles that are not meant to be there. Yeah, because people are irresponsible. Or in some cases, they've been stowaways that have just taken a hold. Yeah. Climate change will make you see snow in Florida. In Florida, that would be wild. Big snowstorms are cool. I've never been. I don't even know what that is. Just like when there's 3 feet of snow and everything just shuts down. Oh man, that sounds like a perfect opportunity to just hang tight in your home and be chill. Yeah, so like the basilisk lizard that I saw for a few weeks looked kind of like this, on the right hand side there. Looked kind of like this guy. And he was there for a while. And never saw it again. I don't even know what that is. Thandara, I don't know what a snow day is. I have no idea what this, like, what we have are hurricanes, okay? We don't shut down until we can't find our cars under the snow. Oh my goodness. Yeah, we have like hurricane days. Or weeks, depending on the severity of the storm. But yeah, I've never had a snow day. I've never had anything that fell in line with like freezing temperatures. I think the coldest I've ever been was probably actually with the co-host up in Georgia, 30-ish degrees. Like that's as cold as it's been for me. I experienced, that I've experienced, like, what, 30 something? 30, like, anywhere from, like, 34 to 36, degrees was, like, probably the coldest I've ever been. Snow days were the best when it's too dangerous to drive and the snowplows can't keep up, so they cancel school. Public school don't do snow days anymore? Yeah. We used to put spoons under our pillows for good luck for a snow day? What? Interesting. Yeah, I've never experienced that.
Acted a lot like she acted a lot like a cat. She was full of energy. Hey. Fabio. We did end up buying her a cat tree and she loved it, and it kind of mimicked her tree.
Uh-huh.
I heard a thump outside, then noticed that there was a squirrel. She had fallen from my tree. I took her inside, massaged her little chest, and she started coming to. My daughter put her outside and she tried to get the mother to come. Her mother wasn't there, so there was nobody to help her. We started feeding her goat's milk. After giving her the goat's milk, she perked up and she really started to move around. It took, I would say, about a week for her to really start becoming more like a squirrel. About a year and a half after having Fabio, we ended up getting her a nesting box to stay in the tree. And she really enjoyed being outdoors. We thought that
So
was
it's
the proper
possible.
place for her to
Gotcha.
be, and she's wild, so we wanted to allow her to live outdoors. We were allowing her to go indoors and outdoors, and
Gotcha,
then
Silver Night
we
Dragon.
realized she was pregnant.
That's me and Fox. Look at the belly.
No Wrangler. Welcome. I welcome any MR people.
Fabio stayed inside with
How's
her
it going?
babies,
I got like
and
3
she didn't
feet.
allow us to see him for about a month.
High winds off lake, completely buried
moment
cars
she-
within half an hour. Jeez. Yikes.
Let us see them. We seen the heads peeping out, and she allowed them to be around us.
That's so
Then
cute.
the babies ended up playing on the
Little
cat tree as
dudes.
well for a little while, until they were all old enough to be in a nesting box outside.
Aww. True.
Her daughter Camille and I are very close. She seemed to be more attached to me. She liked to jump on me, and she likes to be hand fed.
She's really cool.
Camille and her brother ended up going to different trees and kind of living on their own. They still come back periodically and eat, but they're not coming in daily. So just Fabio and I. Fabio's stuck around, and I've been taking care of her ever since.
Aww.
I felt it was important to set the babies free because they are wild animals. I just wanted them to live their life and have babies of their own and just to move on. It means a lot to be a part of Fabio and her family. It brings so much joy, and to watch her babies grow, it's amazing because they're wild animals, and we don't expect wild animals to even acknowledge us, but they do.
That's so cute. That's so cute. A couple of days ago, I had stomping on my roof, and I thought someone was at the roof, and I looked out the window, and I see it's a squirrel's fluffy tail hanging from the gutters. That's cute. They was throwing hands? No. I've seen them fuckers, but like sometimes I've actually never seen a squirrel fight. And we have like common squirrels here. I don't know. I've never seen them. I've never seen them get like feisty with each other, like fighting. Alright, let's see what we've got to redeem here. Okay, so we got to get up. Okay. They are territorial, gotcha. Okay, that makes sense. And we've got a ukulele riff to play. Alright, so let's do that. Let me get up for a second, and let me bring out the ukulele. Oh wait, I can come... Alright. Yeah, for some reason I keep forgetting that I don't have this attached to a wire. City squirrels are built different. Ah. The chair is actually the one that's playing. It's a ghost chair. Alright, we got it. Sent you a blizzard of 1978 Massachusetts. I didn't even think it was picking up the sound, but I guess it did. I've seen them fight on power lines before. What? Did you send it on Discord? 10 out of 10. Thank you. Appreciate it. Oh, on Twitter. Okay, gotcha. No, that's not it. Hold on, folks. Twitter is a cursed website.
If you've lived in Massachusetts for decades, you may remember what today is.
Buried under heavy sits. The blizzard of 1978 hit on this day, February 6th in Massachusetts, and it's a day that's hard to forget for longtime residents. Springfield was buried under heavy snow. Back then, the strong winds and significant snow turned Route 128 into a parking lot as cars couldn't travel in the whiteout conditions. Over 3,000 vehicles were caught in the snow there, which made 3 people the highway even more difficult.
Yikes.
As a result of the blizzard, 73 people died in the Commonwealth, and damages were estimated at $500 million.
So exactly how much snow fell during the blizzard?
I mean, like, we think that as like a horrible event, but like, way more people have passed away during these recent extreme weather events, and we considered that. I assume that the reason why they're covering it is because it was considered like a historic event, right? The 1978 blizzard. Can you imagine? Like, that's literally what that was historic in comparison to like nowadays. It's like one single heat wave like killed what, hundreds of people? Yeah. So to put things in perspective, right? Yeah, the chair is playing the ukulele. No, I was messing around to see if I could get something. Before I sat back down, but... Boo. That's not what I wanted. I had something cool. I like this part. Ah, now we're getting there. Sure, I'll take it. Play Dragon Force. Play Freebird, says Noog. No. No, I will never be able to play Dragon Force. I don't think so. It'll take me a gajillion years to be able to learn that. Alright, so we ended up doing it. Cool. We've got one more redemption of a cute animal video. Alright, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to go over these final articles, and then we're going to do a cute animal video. I think that's an appropriate way. I think that's an appropriate way to follow up on that. The next great casualty of climate change could be the global fishing stocks. Could be, or is it already underway? In a year that's seen disastrous effects of climate change unfold with frightening speed, from drought and famine to heat domes, wildfires, deadly flash flooding, another potential catastrophe has come into view. Depleted oxygen levels in the world's oceans and lakes that threaten marine life. As oceans and atmospheric scientists focus on climate, we believe that oceanic oxygen levels are the next big casualty of global warming. Researchers Julie Bullen and Nathalie Goodkin wrote in an opinion piece published by Tuesday in Scientific American. In part due to the effects of rising global temperatures, growing portions of the oceans have lost 10 to 40% of oxygen, and that figure is forecast to continue to grow due to climate change. Rising water temperature and depleted oxygen, which pollution and nutrient runoff also makes it worse, have been blamed for mass die-offs of fish this year in states like Florida, California, Oregon, Montana, Louisiana, Virginia, Pennsylvania, Missouri, Washington, Idaho, Delaware, and Minnesota. Yikes. We were starting to go over this yesterday, but I was not able to finish it, so we gotta pay attention to this one. While climate change is not the only cause that for the fish kills, it is, research say, a contributing factor. As the amount of CO2 increases in the atmosphere, not only does it warm air by trapping radiation, it warms faster. The interplay between oceans and the atmosphere is complex and interwoven, but simply, oceans have taken up 90% of the excess heat created by climate change. That is unbelievable. That is massive. When a heat dome covered much of the Pacific Northwest this summer, rising temperatures in streams and rivers resulted in mass die-offs of salmon and trout. An estimated 1 billion marine animals along the coast of Canada were also killed as a result of that heat wave. The grim reality has brought the urgency of global warming home for even conservative residents of his home state. Senator Jeff Merkley, Democrat of Oregon, told Yahoo News earlier this month at the UN Climate Change Conference in Glasgow, Scotland. 15 years ago, in rural parts of the state, people would say this is just some Ivy League invention. Yeah, some Ivy League invention. Today, those same constituents, many of whom are fishermen, understand that the trout streams were warmer and smaller and it affects them. Yeah, like, I never understood that. It's like, it's not a problem until it's my problem kind of attitude, right? Climate change, Bullen and Goodkin wrote, is upsetting the delicate balance that helps provide abundant marine life. Bodies of water can absorb CO2 and O2, but only to a temperature-dependent limit. Gas solubility decreases with warming temperature, that is, warmer water holds less oxygen. This decrease in oxygen content, coupled with a large-scale die-off of oxygen-generating phytoplankton, resulting not just from climate change but from plastic pollution and industrial runoff, compromises ecosystems, asphyxiating marine life and leading to further die-offs. Yikes. With roughly 3 billion people worldwide who depend on fishing to make a living, sustaining oxygen levels in the world's oceans and lakes is certain to be just one more challenge in the area of climate change. Roughly 40% of the world depends on ocean for their livelihoods. If we do not stop marine life from oxygen starvation, we propagate a further travesty on ourselves. So it's not just that things are getting a little hotter. There are massive domino effects. And about, 3 billion people? That's a lot. That's almost half the world. So our Sing support Rating with a party of 9. Howdy, howdy, everybody. Hey, Doc, how's it going? Welcome. Welcome, 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 everybody. Folks, if you don't know who we are A Difficult Truth. We do news and politics Monday through Thursday, 9 a.m. Eastern Time, and join us on Saturdays for a more miscellaneous version of the stream. We do Saturday Catterdays. Anything is possible. Video games, IRL streams, just chatting. But one thing is guaranteed, there are kitty cats on stream on Saturday Catterdays. That is a 100% guarantee. If you guys enjoy the content, don't forget to follow. How's it going, Doc? Appreciate the raid sourcing. Hope you're doing alright. The attitude comes from decades of personal freedom and reliance propaganda and industrial just-in-time consumerism. Well, definitely it is a part. Definitely, it is a contributing factor for sure. This idea of, I just don't have to worry about it because it's not my problem. Just a weird way of thinking of things. It's going okay. Lots of good interactions this morning. Well, that's good. Walking on the Sunshine just fixed a Twitch chat overlay issue that has been bugging me for years. Awesome. Well, good to hear. Good to hear. Yeah, so TLDR, this sounds like a little bit of a problem, right? I mean, if we have like massive die-offs and about 3 billion people worldwide who depend on fishing, not only for food, but obviously to live, that seems to be a problem that we should maybe, kind of, sort of, perhaps address. Just saying. And like, never mind like this, and like not just to add on top of this aspect, like if oceans continue to get degraded to this manner, the ability for the ocean to also help take on some of the excess global warming is also going to be depleted if we have no phytoplankton, which is huge, by the way. You know what else suffers, right? The whales. The whales. And if the whales suffer, well, those whales that eat phytoplankton are also huge carbon sinks. More so than we originally thought. And yeah, so the domino effects are massive and complex. And it is crucial that we acknowledge this and get to work on it. Right? I mean, I'm just saying it would be nice if we had a attitude geared towards attempting to take the environment and the planet into consideration, right? It would be beneficial to everybody involved, right? Unfortunately, our current system does not allow for that. All right. The EU drafts plan to cut methane emissions from oil and gas industry. Cool. We're doing more talks. Let's see. The EU has drafted legislation to reduce methane emissions by forcing oil and gas companies to report their output and find and fix leaks of the gas that is the second biggest cause of climate change, according to drafts seen by Reuters. Oil and gas operators in the EU wouldn't have to submit estimates for methane emissions in their installations within 12 months after the regulation comes into force. The European Commission is due to present the draft in December and is still subject to change. Once proposed by the Commission, the regulation needs to be negotiated by the European Parliament and member states, a process that can take up to 2 years. Awesome. So cool. 2 years after the regulation takes effect, operators would be required to report actual measurements of their emissions. They would also have to carry out regular surveys for detection of methane leaks and their repair. But like, why is this like not a thing? Right? Why is this like not a thing now? I understand that there's like processes to go through, but like, why is it 2021 and now is when they're starting to maybe kind of draft, perhaps, maybe debate about whether or not this is even going to be a thing? Brussels had faced pressure from campaigners and some investors to clamp down on methane emissions associated with importing gas by forcing companies abroad to fix methane leaks to sell their gas to into Europe, a requirement that was not included in the draft proposal. Methane is emitted from sources including leaky fossil fuel infrastructure, livestock farming, and landfill sites. True, it has a higher heat trapping potential than CO2, but it breaks down in the atmosphere faster, meaning deep cuts in methane emissions by 2030 could have a rapid impact on slowing global warming. This is actually pretty true. In fact, I think the was it the Working Group 3 report? The leaked version of Working Group 3 made a suggestion that it would probably be a good way of buying time for us would be to focus on cutting, eliminating, stopping methane emissions. Would be a good way to kind of buy a little bit of time here. At least in the immediate, it would be beneficial for us to just stop. But yeah, I'm glad that the EU is finally putting forth a draft proposal about maybe, perhaps, possibly, at some point, in a couple of years, force oil companies to fix methane leaks. Not to reduce like our actual or their actual oil production or anything like that, but to maybe perhaps kind of maybe sort of stop the methane leaks, which are not to say that it's not like important, but right, methane and N2O are low-hanging fruit. Correct. Nitrous oxide are low-hanging fruit, something that we can do in the immediate, which is why they brought it up, I assume. Which is why they brought it up as something that is quite feasible, quite doable, and will buy us a little bit of time. It's just something that we can do in the immediate, right? Short term, I guess. In the short term. But hey, at least they're kind of sort of talking, maybe, perhaps, talking about it.
We called him.
Alright, we got another cute animal video to go to. Let's see. Let's do this bunny one.
Mother, I'm coming home.
Hey, come here. What? It's only 15 seconds? Well, good on the bunny.
Elizabeth is so pregnant.
This seems like a pretty good place to have some babies, huh?
You making your nest.
Aww.
My goal was to get Elizabeth out of the shelter so she could give birth in a safe, comfortable environment.
On New Year's Eve, she gave birth to not 3, not 4, but 5 beautiful, adorable, healthy piglets.
Look at these baby piglets. Oh, they're so sweet. Oh, they are so cute.
That's so cute.
My friend Maddie just rescued a pig from the shelter, and she had
That's so
piglets.
cute.
There's something about a pig, when you look into their eyes, they have so much emotion. It made me always want to adopt a pig.
I mean,
We had just
yeah,
bought a
they're
sanctuary in
unbelievably
Oregon. I asked
intelligent. I don't. Yeah. Yeah, of course.
him if he'd want to take two. Lee has many, many dogs. He's never had pigs before.
Can I get a flop on
Drew, I told you can adopt a pig from a shelter. Yeah, that's 100%. just not here. in where we are. None of the shelters have any none of the shelters here, I should say. But yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you're 100% correct, Darknet.
Oh my god, he just
Yes, they get huge.
I-
Absolutely. They get huge. I used to have a pet porker. When I was a very, very young child, his name was Blackie. Because of course I was a child, and I was like, oh yeah, he's a black piggy, so I'm gonna call him Blackie. And yeah, yeah, he got huge. He was a rescue. Unfortunately, his mom. My dad used to work for as like a driver for train conductors, right? He was like He was like a transporter for train conductors, and he would drive conductors to and fro. And unfortunately, the mama pig was hit by a said train. Was hit by a train, and she orphaned a whole bunch of baby porkers, and we took one in, and yeah, he became our little pet for a while. He became our little pet, our little friend for a while, and we made sure that when it was time, we gave him to good folks, and that he was going to live a good and happy life. And at some point down the road, I think it was like a few years after, the family sent us a picture. Well, this was a very, very long time ago when, physical pictures were a thing. And man, he was huge. He was huge. He was huge. He was huge. And man, that little piggy, gave us he was such a curious little dude. I mean, he wanted to just be with us all the time at every time. He was very, very, very loving. So much so that he would chase my mom's car down the street. She would have to drive. The little piggy Blackie would have to find. He would find ways, and man, he was clever. He would find ways to slip out and just chase my mom until she had to bring him back in. He's like, look, it's okay, buddy. I'm just going to work. I'll be right back. What a lucky pig. Yeah. Yeah. Yep. We made sure that when it was time, we gave him to the proper folks. And, yeah, he lived his life. He lived his life. And you're right, they get huge. They get huge.
I rescue, rehabilitate, and rehome animals of all different shapes and sizes, but we had never done a birth before. So over the course of the next few weeks,
so
we had so much fun just watching them grow up, watching their little personalities come to be. You did the happiest piglet. Lee specifically wanted the spotted pig. I actually thought I might keep that one, but of course I came to my better judgment.
So cute.
Hello.
Oh my goodness.
I'm giving you this guy.
I love the little nosies. The little
Wait, what about
snouts.
the other one? I thought that was the one that you weren't sure about.
I know, but it would be selfish of me to keep an animal that has a loving home waiting for them. So he's yours. They're both yours.
No way. Are you kidding? No way. Yeah, no way. That's good. That was good. That was really good.
I love these stories.
First Asher House piggies.
The first Asher House piggies. I mean, they're gonna just grow up with us. It's gonna be amazing.
I love these stories. These are some feel-good stories, you know?
I'm actually getting pigs. I'm so excited. I need pig stuff. I'm going shopping. I don't know what pigs like.
I like that one.
All right. These pigs better be happy.
Meanwhile, the rescue world never stops. I happen to be at a livestock auction, and I saw
What? A llama?
I was able
I want
to
it.
call the actual owner and negotiate for her to give us the llama for free.
Oh my god, Lee! So he's getting 2 piglets and a llama. Amazing.
Ted and David, are you guys ready to go? I guess this is gonna be one of the crazier things I've ever done. I am road tripping to Oregon with 2 piglets and a llama.
We're very close. We are racing to hopefully get there before it gets dark so we can unload and get Llama Guy situated.
Heavier than I thought it would be. Somebody help me! Help us! I wear the wrong pants for these. Hey! Help us with the
That's so cool that they run like a little rescue operation there.
That's our piggies and our llama. Oh my goodness.
We're here.
Here we go.
Oh my god.
Wow. Oh my goodness. Oh wow. Hey Frankie. Hi. Welcome home, Frankie. Fancy Frankie Asher. Look at you.
Checking us out.
Got you some waters.
Your first meal at the Asher House.
It's your first little nibbles.
Do you like your llama? Are you happy?
That's so cool.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. No way. No way.
Dear.
Oh, look at this. Lee's a large guy and he's got a lot of energy. So I kept telling him, be calm, sit on the ground with the pigs. There you go. So he learned the pig finesse, if you will.
Cuteness
But
overload,
I'm pretty sure
yes.
he got some belly flops right away too.
Those are some comfy porkers.
Yeah. We all have a soft spot. We all have a soft spot.
Look at them, they're so cute.
I love you.
I love their little snouts.
I love you.
I always like stories like this. These folks are they run like a rescue a rescue place. That's really cool.
Good morning, Frankies. What are we doing?
It was really quite amusing to see Lee try and bond with his llama.
Snoots.
Got a long way to go.
Come snuggle. Yeah, you get over here.
You're so good. You're such a good older brother. You're such a good older brothers.
Everyone seems very happy, especially Lee. He's doing great with them. He sends me videos all the time of the llama and the piglets. And the sweetest thing about Frankie is he loves the piglets so much. He thinks of himself as like a pig guardian.
That's amazing.
The fact that Lee was so overjoyed and so elated made it a very easy goodbye for me.
Yay. What a great ending. What a great story. I love videos like this. I love it. Yay. That's a feel good. That's a feel good video. Adoption Day. The Dodo Adoption Day. Love it. Love it. Alright, folks. Unfortunately, I do gotta get my day started. It was an extended stream. I just wanted to make sure that we got through everything that we needed to get through from yesterday and today, which we did. And there was no rush. We got through it. We had to chill. An awesome stream. I appreciate you guys being here. You guys are what makes this channel grow. I appreciate it. Folks, on your way out, don't forget to hit the follow button. You get 5 free emotes. And the best thing that you can do to help this channel without spending 1 penny is to spread the word far and wide that this is the chillest place to be for news and politics. We are here Monday through Thursday, 9 a.m. Eastern Time. Join us on Saturdays around noon Eastern Time for Saturday Catterdays. I do appreciate all of you guys being here. I appreciate all the support. Thank you for the raids, class time, sourcing support. Thank you for all the new follows. Thank you for the biddies. As always, thank you, Darknet. As always, please stay safe. Please take care of each other. I love y'all, and I hope to see you guys in the next one. See ya. In fact, let's go help, let's go over to Tina's channel. I think Tina, is doing some chill, continuing the chill vibes here. Alright, folks, hang tight. Show lots of support to Tina_2. We're heading out in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Here we go.